In the golden era of American car culture, when engines roared and chrome ruled the highways, one man believed he could change everything. His name was John Zachary DeLorean, a man who looked more like a Hollywood star than a Detroit executive. Tall, confident, and impossibly ambitious, he was the youngest division head in General Motors history. By his early 40s, he had already built legends. Cars like the Pontiac GTO, the Firebird, and the Grand Prix. John DeLorean had it all: money, fame, and influence. But in his mind, success inside General Motors was just a cage with a view. He wanted freedom, the chance to build something that was truly his, something that could stand for more than horsepower and profit margins. He wanted to build a car that represented the future. In 1975, he shocked the automotive world by walking away from GM. Colleagues called him crazy. Magazines called him arrogant. But DeLorean called it destiny. He founded the DeLorean Motor Company, and in press interviews he spoke about changing not just cars, but culture itself. He wanted to build an ethical sports car, one that was safe, fuel-efficient, and would last a lifetime. The vision became the DMC-12, a stainless steel sports car with sleek lines, futuristic gull-wing doors, and a bold promise to be the car of the future. Every part of it looked like it had landed from another planet. The body was unpainted brushed steel, cold to the touch, but impossibly elegant. It wasn't just transportation, it was a statement. But the dream was expensive. DeLorean needed investors, and quickly. After several failed negotiations in the US, he found an unexpected lifeline: across the ocean. The British government, desperate to create jobs in Northern Ireland during the height of political conflict, offered massive financial backing. In 1981, on the outskirts of Belfast, construction began on a brand new factory, state-of-the-art, and in many ways experimental. Thousands of people were hired, many of them unemployed for years. They were trained from scratch to build the most futuristic car in the world. It was more than a factory. It was a symbol of hope in a land divided by violence. But hope, as DeLorean would soon learn, wasn't enough. The first cars rolled off the line in early 1981. On the surface, they were stunning, low, angular, and distinctly modern. The brushed steel body gleamed under the lights. The gull-wing doors lifted upward like something out of a science fiction film. But behind that beauty, problems lurked. The DeLorean was powered by a V6 engine developed by Peugeot, Renault, and Volvo. It produced just around 130 horsepower, enough for a family sedan, not a futuristic sports car. Acceleration was sluggish, handling was uncertain, and the suspension felt soft. Car magazines described it as a showpiece, not a driver's car. And yet the fascination wouldn't die. Celebrities bought it. Dealerships took deposits months in advance. The car's design was so ahead of its time that even its flaws became part of its mystique. For a few brief months, the DMC-12 was one of the most talked about cars on the planet. But behind the scenes, chaos was spreading. The factory struggled with quality control. Parts suppliers missed deadlines. Cars were shipped half-finished, and the company had to build repair centers in America just to fix them before delivery. Each car cost far more to build than it sold for. Financial losses were mounting fast. DeLorean was spending millions to keep the dream alive. He begged for more funding from investors, from the British government, from anyone who would listen. But the economy of the early 1980s was brutal. Interest rates were high, and luxury car sales were collapsing. By mid-1982, DMC was on the brink of ruin. And then everything fell apart. In October of that year, John DeLorean was arrested in a Los Angeles hotel room. The FBI accused him of attempting to finance his company through a multi-million-dollar cocaine deal. The footage of his arrest made global headlines. The man who wanted to build the world's most ethical car was now accused of trafficking drugs. The scandal was devastating. The British government pulled all financial support, the factory was shut down, and workers were sent home. The dream had officially died. Months later, in a dramatic courtroom showdown, DeLorean was found not guilty. The jury ruled that he had been entrapped by undercover agents. But the verdict came too late. His company was already gone, his reputation shattered, and his dream reduced to a cautionary tale. It seemed like the story was over. But fate had one last twist to offer. In 1985, Hollywood director Robert Zemeckis was searching for a car to use as a time machine in his new movie, Back to the Future. He needed something that looked like it could travel through time, something strange, something unforgettable. When he saw the DeLorean DMC-12, the decision was instant. The failed dream car was reborn, not on the streets, but on the big screen. Suddenly, the DeLorean became a cultural icon. Kids wanted toy versions of it. Fans around the world fell in love with its otherworldly design. The same doors that once symbolized failure now opened to infinite possibilities. The DeLorean had finally found the one thing John DeLorean always wanted for it: immortality. Today, more than 40 years later, fewer than 9,000 DeLoreans exist, and almost all of them are still accounted for. They are collector's items, restored and maintained by a passionate global community. Some have been modified with modern electric powertrains, others kept exactly as they were, frozen in time, like the movie that saved them. John DeLorean never built another car. He lived quietly after the scandal, occasionally giving interviews about what could have been. He never stopped believing that he was right, that cars should be more than machines. He passed away in 2005, leaving behind a legacy that is both tragic and inspiring. The DeLorean is remembered not for its performance, but for its vision. It's a reminder that innovation often comes from rebellion, from people willing to risk everything for an idea. It stands as a paradox, a failure that became a legend, a flawed machine that turned into a symbol of imagination. In a way, John DeLorean achieved exactly what he set out to do. He didn't just build a car. He built a story, one that still captures hearts decades later. When people see that brushed metal body, those gull-wing doors, they don't just see steel. They see ambition. They see risk. They see the beautiful chaos of chasing something bigger than yourself. Maybe that's why, even now, the DeLorean feels timeless, because the car was never just about the road. It was about the dream. John DeLorean once said, "A man can hit a home run and still lose the game." Maybe he did lose the game, but his home run, that stainless steel time-traveling icon, still echoes through history. And somewhere out there on a quiet stretch of road, a DeLorean door lifts upward. The engine hums, and for a moment, it feels like time itself stands still.